Karl Etta Eyong is the name that has popped up and been linked to FC Barcelona. And while I usually do not cover one individual player that is just a rumor, there's a lot of interesting parts of this going on and still moving parts. And I did want to talk about it here in more length. Welcome to episode 717 of the Barcelona podcast, brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I'm Dan Hilton. I do implore you, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help me get to 50,000 subscribers. Give a listen. And I also recently just read a nice few reviews on Spotify and Apple Music. So thank you for that. Become a Patreon for as low as $3. But let's dive in, because today I'm answering the question, why would FC Barcelona want Villarreal's Karl Etta Eyong? I do know that before you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, most of you already tune out. So I want to answer this question very bluntly upfront. So the too long didn't read of this video is that I don't know why Barcelona would want Etta Eyong. At first and second glance, it feels like a report thrown out by his camp to get a better contract and a nice renewal with Villarreal. If his release clause is 10 million euros, that would be great for a new striker to a top 6 at minimum Liga team. And if it's 5 million, even better. You pay upfront if you're Barcelona now, loan him out because obviously Barcelona can't register him. And please don't make me do a whole thing about Barcelona has money to spend on players, but registering players involves the wage bill that is still too high based on previous year's revenue. Yeah, we're not doing this again. Hopefully that explanation is good enough. Let's talk more about the player. The thing that does make this feel a little bit real is that this would be the time to strike on a player like this as a player that is getting better, seeing first team football, and would be an investment. Fabrizio Romano did say that there were no formal steps yet, but the buzz is real. But that was also before Yeremy Pino went to Crystal Palace, and Villarreal received more room in the wage bill for a possible Etta Eyong renewal. Either way, it does seem like Villarreal's lack of striker options, especially with Gerard Moreno often injured, plus Marcelino's desire to play a 4-4-2 with 2 up top, that all adds up to a potential breakout campaign for Etta Eyong. Villarreal and Cadiz before them have done a really good job of keeping him a secret, but that's actually part of the problem where I think he is so much of a late bloomer. I do worry a little bit. He turned 22 in October, so there is a possibility that he is who he's going to be, or however you want to characterize him as a late bloomer. He netted 19 goals with 6 assists last season with Villarreal B, and even as an academy product, when he was with Cadiz, who are not known for producing a ton of top talent, he made his way to Villarreal in his late teens and still wasn't considered a top talent. But La Liga has been good to Etta Eyong so far. He made his first La Liga appearance in April and scored a dramatic late winner against Girona in May, and this season has been a bright start for him. 2 Liga matches, 1 goal against Real Oviedo, 1 assist against Girona, and going the full 90 in both. That is definitely some confidence from Marcelino. All this amounts to a move that is low cost, high upside. But I do have to be honest about that upside. I hope he surprised me, but for those who are saying Samuel Eto'o or Samu, I do not see it at all from what I've seen of him. In fact, I see more the kind of player like a Hugo Doro, a Jonathan David, or Moises Kean. I am assuming that the Eto'o links are just because they're both from Cameroon, because anyone who actually would watch them knows that Eto'o's legs are probably twice as long as Etta Eyong's as far as gait. It's the same thing for Samu. He and Etta Eyong didn't seem similar to me at all. And when we talk about the Hugo Doros, the Jonathan Davids, and the Moises Keans, and then the Etta Eyongs, I don't know how well that profile of a player particularly fits into Flick's system. But maybe that's the whole point. You grab the player now who will be more valuable to someone else later, and you treat him purely as the asset. I think people are frustrated because Barcelona can barely register players in their first team, so getting more business done around the edges and trying to figure out how to make money like that just feels pretty desperate. Get those construction guys to finish up the Camp Nou, get in there and make that gate revenue. That seems to be the way to bring in more talent into your club. And that's why I don't mean to be boring, but I do see this ending with a nice contract extension and a new release clause for Etta Eyong. Barca has too many other things going on right now, including player registrations and the like, to take time on a bold move, a risky gamble, whatever you want to call it. And if this story goes nowhere else, at least you got a nice little lowdown of one of potentially the more exciting young talents in the Liga this season. For more bite-sized stuff like this, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, give a good like on the podcast apps, and become a Patreon for as low as $3. And as always, until next time, Forza Barca.